Hello, I'm Helen from Los Angeles English School. In this video we're going with you to look at the usage of should and to be allowed. And I would like you to look at the board. What is the difference between should and must and have to? If you have watched my previous video on must and have to, you already know the difference between these two modal verbs. So let's refresh a little bit in your memory. Must and have to, they are very similar and express strong obligations. If we talk about should, what's the difference between should, must and have to? Should expresses a mild obligation or advice. For example, you want to give some advice to somebody, then you use should. For example, my friend is ill and I say, I think that you should stay at home. It's like a mild obligation and I give my advice. I think that it's better to do. Now, based on my explanation, we will practice should in some sentences. I would like you to think over what you need to use, should or must or have to. The first sentence, you, a blank, show the passport at the airport. What do you think? You should show the passport at the airport, or you must or have to show the passport at the airport? So, of course, it's a strong obligation. It's very important to show our passport at the airport. It's not just the advice or a good idea. That's why you need to use you must or you have to show the passport at the airport, but not you should, okay? So both options are okay. You can say you must or you have to. You must show the passport at the airport, you have to show the passport at the airport. The next, if you want to practice English, you blank. You should get an English pen friend, or you must get an English pen friend, or you have to get an English pen friend. If you want to practice English, really having a pen friend, it's not the most important thing. If you want to practice English, you should get an English pen friend. It's not a bad idea. So it's really some good advice, but it's not so important, okay? The next, you blank should, must or have to stop at red lights. So of course, to stop at red lights, it's very important. It's a strong obligation. Since it's a very strong obligation, it's a rule, it's a traffic rule, you need to use must stop at red lights. So you must stop at red lights. You cannot say you should stop at red lights. Okay? The next, I think you blank should go to this cafe, must go to this cafe, or have to go to this cafe. Of course, it's my advice. I think that this cafe is really good and I advise somebody to go to this cafe, and you need to use should. I think you should go to this cafe. So let's recap again. Should expresses a mild obligation. It's really not the obligation, it is just you think that it is a good idea to do and you give some advice to somebody. Okay, the next what we're going with you to look at is to be allowed. Here I have written the word can. Why? Because to be allowed and can, they are very similar. It is mostly the same. I would like you to use the expression to be allowed. Because can, it's very easy and everybody can use it. Yeah, it's very simple. You can do this, you can't do that. It's very simple. But let's learn how to use the expression to be allowed, okay? So the first, I have some rules for teenagers at school, and teenagers cannot do something. The expression to be allowed shows their permission. Permission, it is if you can do something or you cannot do this. So you need to get a permission in order to do something that you aren't allowed to do. Okay? If you have no permission, you cannot do it. You aren't allowed to do it. So the first, kids cannot wear casual clothes. So if kids go to English schools, they cannot wear casual clothes. I would like you, instead of cannot, use expression to be allowed, but in the correct form. So how would you say? Kids cannot wear casual clothes. You need to use kids aren't allowed to wear casual clothes. Kids aren't allowed to wear casual clothes. I would like you to repeat after me to remember it. Kids aren't allowed to wear casual clothes. Because the kids can't wear casual clothes, or kids aren't allowed to wear casual clothes. The next, they chew gum. So you can say they can't chew gum, it's okay, but I would like you to say the same but using to be allowed. So it's the same, yeah? They aren't allowed. They aren't allowed to chew gum. Could you repeat again, please? They aren't allowed to chew gum. And the final, girls wear makeup. Girls can't wear makeup. And the same, girls aren't allowed to wear makeup. Girls aren't allowed to wear makeup. Okay, so let's repeat again. Girls aren't allowed to wear makeup. Okay, so I would like you now just to practice it more. Could you please remember your childhood or your years when you studied at school, and what weren't you allowed to do? So instead of cannot, or in the past you say couldn't, you need to try to use were not allowed. Okay, so in the present we say are not allowed, and in the past you say were not allowed, okay? Or was not allowed if it is singular, okay? For example, I try to remember my years at school and some rules and permissions, yeah, that I had at school. So really I was allowed to wear casual clothes. I could do it. I was allowed to wear casual clothes, and you? Were you allowed? I wasn't allowed to chew gum, especially during classes. At school, of course, I was allowed, but during the lessons I wasn't allowed to chew gum. What about you? And about wear makeup, when I was a teenager, I think it's maybe not good, but we were allowed to wear makeup. But I think that it's not a good idea. Okay, so that is the difference between to be, sorry, not the difference, this is the usage of to be allowed and should. And I hope that this video was interesting and helpful for you, and moreover you can visit our website losangeles.englishschool.com, and you can find more exercises in order to practice this topic. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.